Okay, so I have with me Guru Renato, and we're
Oh, I'm a
just
guru.
you're the guru today, and today we're going to be going over the PlayStation 1 Classic that just came out with the full game list. Have you had it?
Excellent. I will be happy to give my full spiritual discourse on the PlayStation Classic.
Did you get a chance to check it out? You saw the full list?
I did not see the full list. I saw a few of the things.
Did you so you might have saw the pre-announcement previously, and the pre-announcement was great. The games uh, originally pre-announced, so before they listed all 20. I don't remember the exact list, but Final Fantasy VII was on there. There's 5 games: Final Fantasy VII, Wild Arms, I believe Tekken 3, Ridge Racer Type 4, and there might have been one more. I don't remember. And
I have the game list in front of me now.
so the ones that I
This is
listed
the
were the original 4 or 5 before they gave the full list. They gave the full list like a month later, so they hyped it up with a great list. And
mhm.
then the list in front of you came out. The full list just announced. And I will mention I previously pre-ordered this after just hearing the first 4 or 5 games, and I ordered 2 of them. But I have since canceled my pre-orders.
Why'd you cancel?
Well, if you want me to get started, this list
It's your show.
is horrific. I'll go one by one. I'll go top to bottom here.
Sounds
Uh,
good.
Battle Arena Toshinden. They chose to put it number 1, which, although it was legendary for its time, is not the best battle arena,
That's
and
true.
and
2
in
and 3 were both much better.
and in fact sucks to today's standards. A terrible game. Cool Borders
Yeah, it's
2.
kind of crap.
Cool Borders 2, okay, whatever, I'll give them that. They should have had Tony Hawk 2. That would have been better, but whatever. Cool Borders, okay.
Wait, hang on. Is Cool Borders? I thought that was snowboarding. Is it skateboarding?
No, Cool Borders is snowboarding, you're right. I think it might
Hmm.
be a PlayStation exclusive, maybe that's why they had it on there. But
Okay.
I'm okay with that one. But now it gets bad again. Destruction Derby. That game
I
was
don't even know what that is.
it was legendary for its time. It was the first game to have like destruction in your cars, like show car destruction, I guess. Damage to your car, like in significant detail. Okay. But Destruction Derby 2 and any Destruction Derby made thereafter is actually a million times better. Again, it's like the whole battle arena thing. Destruction Derby 1 sucks.
Yeah.
So then they got Final Fantasy 7. Great. They need that on there. It's like
No, it's not.
It's
I'll talk
mandatory.
about that later,
Oh,
though.
dang. I'd love to hear that. Okay. So I'll go to the next one now.
I have some controversial opinions on Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, that's shocking. Okay. Next one, Grand Theft Auto. Again, it's not even Grand Theft Auto 2, and
Wait, Grand Theft Auto, like the first one,
the first one,
like the 2D
the top.
sky view.
Yep, that's the one.
I didn't even know that was on PlayStation.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and number 2 is on PlayStation 2,
Jeez.
Grand Theft Auto 2.
No, Grand Theft Auto 2 is the best Grand Theft Auto ever made.
Yeah. Oh, I love Grand Theft Auto 2. I'm actually I'm in your camp on that. But the thing with Grand Theft Auto 1 is, 1, it's not as good as 2. Number 2, they did not include the expansion London 1969 or something, whatever it was, expansion. And number 3, it's actually more of a PC game. It's not even an
It
iconic.
really is.
It's not an iconic PlayStation game. They just like threw
I
it
didn't
on
even
there.
know it was PlayStation. I knew it from PC, and I've never even been a big PC gamer until the last few years.
Oh, there you go. See, you knew it
So,
as a classic PC game.
yeah.
The next one I do agree with, and a lot of people are shocked that it's more of a shock that it got on here, which is Intelligent Cube.
I have no idea what that is.
You've probably never heard of it. Most have never heard of it. It's a hidden gem puzzle type game. That's all I'll say. I've never played it, but I've watched it being played on YouTube.
Okay.
The next one is Jumping Flash, which a lot of people are bashing, but I really enjoy it. I think it came out, it was a launch title I believe, and it's a great hidden gem. It's underrated, and it does hold the test of time. I believe it is still good to this day. They have Metal
Okay.
Gear Solid, which is kind of mandatory, but
I guess.
there's no rumble shock. There's no dual shock controller, and Metal Gear is better played if you have the rumbling.
Seriously.
It helps. Yeah, it was actually a selling feature for people to get that controller because it rumbles.
Where the hell is Silent Hill on this list?
That's
Why is Silent Hill not on this list?
There's so many games that need to be on the list. Mr. Driller should not be on the list. It's very puzzle heavy. They have Mr. Driller. I'll wing through the rest here. Mr. Driller. It's a puzzle game. I don't agree with it. Shouldn't be on there. Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey. Sure, I'll give them that. Rayman #1. I would argue not to put that one on there because it's not. There's better Raymans out there, but whatever. I'll give it to them. Resident Evil's Director's Cut. Great choice. Revelations Persona. That was a Japan exclusive, I believe. We never got that one, and I hear that it's actually not that great, and the Personas after it were a million times better, so they shouldn't even have that on there. Ridge Racer Type 4, I agree. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, they're getting too puzzle heavy. I don't agree with, what are we at, three puzzle games now?
Four, six, I don't know, a bunch.
Yeah, there's too many. If they want to keep that one, I agree to keep that one, but get rid of Mr. Driller. Siphon Filter, that one's fine, I guess. Tekken 3 is a good choice, I agree with. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, I got a bone to pick with that one because the PlayStation version was the worst version of them all. Even the N64 was 10 times better. And that's a PC game.
Oh, wow.
It's not meant to be, it's not even meant, like nobody in their right mind would ever play that on the PlayStation 1.
No kidding.
And then Twisted Metal, they should have had Twisted Metal 2 or 3. Twisted Metal 1 sucked. It's back to the Battle Arena situation where they choose the worst version to choose. And Wild Arms is a good choice. So
I have never played or seen Wild Arms, but I heard it was pretty popular. Which to me means dick all, but
I never played it, but I know it's good.
All right. So my opinion on this, if I assume that's why I'm in this conversation.
That's why you're here.
We could talk about the various games and what should be on there and what shouldn't be on there all day. I could go on for hours about why Final Fantasy VII is not as good as everybody thinks it is. I could go on and talk about how no Resident Evil game before Resident Evil 4 was any good, and then no Resident Evil game after Resident Evil 4 was any good until Resident Evil 7. I could pick games off this list and talk about them, and we could go back and forth as to whether or not they should be on the PlayStation Classic, but the biggest issue is not the games. The games are irrelevant. The biggest issue is the PlayStation Classic itself. Ooh. It is a shameless, nostalgic money grab because PlayStation already has a digital distribution platform and could just sell these games on it.
And many of them, I'm sure, are already sold. I'm sure.
What's the Xbox has the Xbox Live Arcade? What's the PlayStation version of that? What do they call it?
I think it's just the PSN store, PlayStation Network store.
The PSN store. Yeah, they sell old classic games on it. You've got a digital distribution network. Sell the games on it. How many of these are on the digital distribution network already? I'm reasonably certain Final Fantasy VII is.
I'm sure Metal Gear is, Siphon Filter, Twisted Metal. Well,
this whole thing is a absolutely shameless money grab that serves no actual purpose and is just following trends. Nintendo hit big with the NES Classic and the SNES Mini and whatever they were called, and PlayStation's trying to follow that up.
Yeah, it's true. That's actually a whole other topic because everybody's following up now. Even Sega's going to come out with one probably next year.
Sega and Nintendo get kind of a pass on this for reasons I'll get into in a minute, but PlayStation, there's no reason for this. There's no reason for this to exist. People have PlayStation 4 or whatever the current one is, I don't remember, which has DualShock. It has, good controllers. It is a good system that you can hook up to stuff, and they have an online store where they can just sell their old games and then people can have digital copies of them.
Yeah, and there's also I believe there's a ColecoVision one coming out as well. Like everybody's starting to cash in on this. They saw Nintendo's success, so they're all trying to cash in.
I give Sega a pass because Sega doesn't have a console anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
So
they can't sell their games on the
platform, right?
What was that?
They don't have their own platform. Any of their games they have to sell on other people's platforms. So I give Sega a pass on this. Nintendo, I give kind of a half pass because Nintendo doesn't have a digital distribution network that's worth a damn. But they also should have a digital distribution network that is worth a damn. There is no reason for their online presence to be as absolutely garbage as it is. They just refuse to get up to date.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't get me wrong, Nintendo as a whole is still my favorite of any gaming company because for the most part, they still focus on just making games that are fun, which everyone else seems to have given up on. But yeah, Nintendo's online presence is absolute garbage. And if they're going to keep it that way, then I kind of give them a pass on re-releasing their old shitty consoles. But the PlayStation has no reason to do this. This is stupid.
And you know what?
The worst part is people are going to buy it.
Oh yeah, well maybe not anymore. From what I'm hearing, everybody's canceling their pre-orders because they're all pissed off. But on the topic of you saying it's a money grab, I think you're absolutely right. Because here's what I think happened. This is my personal theory. I think that they rushed it. The reason why the game list sucks so bad is it was probably like a last minute decision to get this out in time for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have time to go and get the rights to the games that they should have got the rights to. In some cases, it was related to soundtracks on the games and they couldn't get the rights. But, maybe it would have been worth it to take your time on it. And actually go and, retry to obtain those rights and pay the money for those rights to get those games if that's what it took. Because now nobody's going to buy this system. They're missing so many games. I'll just name a handful here that they should have had on this thing. And then it would have sold way better than any Nintendo product. They should have had Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Resident Evil 2 would be nice. 1 and 2 would be great. Gran Turismo 1 or 2. Crash Bandicoot isn't even on here. That's like the Mario of PlayStation. Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, but have you actually played Crash Bandicoot recently? I mean, don't get me wrong. If they put it on there, it would sell better. But Crash Bandicoot kind of sucks.
I was never a huge fan, but he's popular for some reason.
I don't know how it got so popular because I've seen the gameplay for it, and it's a really shitty game with a lot of really bad artificial difficulty.
I've never really been into Crash, so I can't argue with you on that. I just know that he's iconic. He's the Mario. They should have had Spyro on there. They have no Spyro game, not 1, 2, or 3, none of them.
Seriously, how do you not have a Spyro on here?
Exactly.
Spyro is huge.
They don't have Parappa the Rappa. Like, these are our iconic PlayStation games. They don't have Twisted Metal 2, which I mentioned earlier. They don't have Medieval. Do you remember Medieval? That was a great game.
I don't remember that one.
PlayStation exclusive.
Sort of remember that one. Remember that one.
Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. You remember that?
Oh yeah, no, they definitely should have had that.
Gran Turismo. Did I mention that one? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
They could have even put games like Mega Man Legends on here. These are PlayStation,
Mega Man Legends would have been a hit. Honestly, Mega Man X4 should be on here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I didn't
Mega
even
Man
think of
X4
that.
was super popular. It was PlayStation's entry into the Mega Man X series, and people loved it.
Oh, and so there you go. Super iconic. It's and if it was popular, then I mean it should be on here. I don't know why they didn't. It to me seems like they rushed it and they didn't approach. It's like they just went out to a bunch of random developers, said, "Can we have a game? We're in a hurry. Give us a game." And the developers came back and said, "Here's Intelligent Cube. Here's Cool Borders 2," because nobody's ever going to buy that game again because it's a piece of junk. And they just got like whatever they could get.
Activision did the same thing with Call of Duty. What they're doing is they're putting in a few titles that they know people will be excited for, like Resident Evil, which sucks, Final Fantasy VII, which is not really very good, Metal Gear Solid, which is also not good. But those are games people love,
Yeah.
and they're excited for, and then they're packaging in a whole bunch of other garbage that they're never otherwise going to sell.
Like Mr. Driller, I'm sorry, but nobody wants Mr. Driller on here. I understand.
Nobody's even heard of Mr. Driller.
I understand it's a good.
Who the fuck is Mr. Driller? Dig Dug was better.
Exactly. Like, at least give us Dig Dug. At least everybody knows who Dig Dug is. No, ain't nobody playing Mr. Driller.
I don't even know if there was a PlayStation entry for Dig Dug. There probably wasn't, but you know what? It'd be better.
It's probably the PlayStation version of Dig Dug. But I watched the gameplay. Apparently, it's a good puzzle game. But hey. It's a freaking puzzle game. You have 3 or 4 puzzle games on this thing. You got too many puzzle games. You should have had 2 at best. In fact, you should have had just 1. Leave Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo on there, and that's it. Leave the rest alone. Take them off.
Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. That sounds like one of those SNES shovelware games.
I think it sort of was. It was like a Street Fighter 2 puzzle fighter game. It was just a puzzle game.
That's so weird.
It was. I think it was a Japan exclusive. In fact, because it was
Speaking of Japan exclusive, what else? What do they have in Japan that they could relicense and actually sell in the States now with this thing?
Oh,
There's got to be some cool games on that front, right?
Oh, if they had done that, throw in like 2 or 3 bonus games that were Japan exclusives, this thing would have sold if they did that.
Were there any Fire Emblem games for the PlayStation?
I'm not sure. If they were Japan exclusive, as far as I know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Which would be great for this.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Games, all right. List of Fire Emblem video games.
There's other RPGs that they could have put on here too, like classics. Like you ever play Legend of Dragoon?
Oh yeah, Fire Emblem was. I guess Fire Emblem is just Nintendo. Oh yeah, no, Legend of Dragoon would kill it on this thing. Are you kidding? There are so many people who have been asking forever for a Legend of Dragoon remake or just like an update with new graphics and stuff. It's the same goddamn game. They could release the same goddamn game and just update the graphics, and it would sell like crazy. Oh yeah, they wouldn't even have to change the horrible writing.
Yeah, it would. I would buy it.
Oh, the writing in that game was terrible, but I loved that game.
Even if they left the graphics the exact same and just called it an HD remake or an HD.
Yeah, they honestly could leave the graphics exact same, call it an HD remake, just make it compatible with higher resolution screens, and call it a day, and people would buy the shit out of that.
Or they're like, it's amazing that I know they rushed it. It's the only explanation. And they should have thrown games like Japan actually got a better list of games.
They're chasing a trend. What do you expect?
Japan got Parasite Eve, and we didn't.
I feel stupid for mentioning Fire Emblem since that's a Nintendo-only game.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have Parasite Eve.
Seriously, Japan got Parasite Eve?
Yeah, Japan got Parasite Eve. In fact, I'm going to Google what's the Japanese PlayStation Classic list. Let's see if I can find it. See if we can get a copy of this.
Yeah.
Oh, they got Arc the Lad 1 and 2, Armored Core. They got way better.
They have Armored Core?
Yeah, they got way better games than we got. What were they thinking?
No fucking shit. They got Gradius Gaiden? Hey, they got Intelligent Cube. They got Mr. Driller. Excellent. At least they've got Mr. Driller.
Mr. Driller, too. Hey, they got Biohazard Director's Cut. That's cool.
That's just Resident Evil. It's called Biohazard.
Oh, is that right? Oh, darn. Okay, cool. That's still cool. Saga Frontier. That wasn't popular here, I don't think. I didn't like it. I played it. I didn't like it that much.
This list isn't way better, but it's definitely better. It's got fucking Armored Core on it.
And Arc the Lad 1 and 2. You know what game, if they put on it, it would have sold no matter what, even with the crappy list of games?
What?
I don't know how other people pronounce it, but I've always called it Suikoden or Suikoden. Number 2.
I don't know that one. Oh, what the? Sorry,
Suicode,
I was.
Suicode number 2 was the best of all of them.
How do you spell that?
Suikoden. It's also the most expensive version. It goes for about $200.
Neat.
And
It's got a nice aesthetic to it.
that's game only with no case and manual.
You know what?
$200.
If they'd put Chrono Cross on there, people would eat that shit up.
Oh, they should have put that on there too. I don't know what they were thinking. It's like they got 4 or 5 good games that they probably
They banked on a few games being popular and then just threw on a whole bunch of crap.
and that crap probably cost them pennies so that they would make more profit. I bet you that's why they rushed it. They're like, hey, let's milk
it's gonna
this
bite
for
them in the ass because people are like, hey, wait a minute, this sucks.
Yeah. I canceled both of my pre-orders. And I'm pretty sure everybody's canceling their pre-orders. Like, I hope this thing bombs.
Oh, it's probably going to do... It's at least going to do less than they expected, for sure.
I think you're right.
And you'd think that would teach them to not just blindly chase trends, but no. They're going to keep doing the same shit.
This was definitely a trend chaser. Let's get this out in time for 100%. Christmas. Nintendo did it last year. They made millions. Let's do it this year. We'll make millions too.
Sega wants to release a classic mini console or whatever the hell it is. They can go for it. They don't have their own platform. That's fine. That's just not a pointless money grab. I mean, it probably is, but at least there's justification for it.
And
fucking ColecoVision wants to do it. They can do that. That's fine.
And Sega's...
But come on, PlayStation.
Sega's done it before, but they never made it themselves. They licensed it to a company called At Games from Brazil. And it actually sucked. Like, the ports were garbage. There were sound issues. The controllers
that makes sense, though, because Sega did really well in Brazil for a long time.
I heard that,
the
too.
Master System, which came out before the Genesis, was still being produced and sold in Brazil after the Genesis had stopped being produced worldwide.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So Brazilians love Sega.
Well, they love the Master System anyways.
What they did now, though, is they actually have fired At Games, and they said that the next time they make one, so they're going to make like an official Sega classic, mini classic, and it's going to be made and produced by Sega, so you know it's going to be high quality, because everybody knows everything that they've pumped out before. Anything from At Games was very low quality, and it was just a money grab. But it wasn't actually made by Sega. They just licensed it out. Out. Yeah, and there was no Silent Hill. I think you mentioned that one.
Yeah, Silent Hill would have been a fucking bang on. People love Silent Hill.
Like, I'm just absolutely disgusted that they...
I didn't think Silent Hill was very good, but Silent Hill 2 was actually really good.
Oh, here's one that they should have put on there. Crash Team Racing. You ever play that?
I did not play it. However, I know about it.
It's the Mario Kart, Crash Bandicoot Mario Kart.
Yeah.
If they had put that on there, I mean, I guess it would be hard.
At least they've got their mascot there.
Like, even with just 2 controllers and not being able to play 4-player, just that one game alone, I'm telling you, would have sold the system.
It was really popular. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm just absolutely disgusted that they have nothing good on here. No good fighting games.
I don't care about the game selection because, like I said before, the entire maneuver is just raw greed with no thought. It's the entire idea of the PlayStation Classic is disgusting to me. I would never buy it, even if it had every single game I loved. Because I know PlayStation has no right to sell something like that. It's a shameless money grab, and I will not participate.
I'm a sucker for money grabs. I'm sorry. I admit
it's all right.
Man, I was so hyped that I pre-ordered it before they even released the game list. because I thought it
At
was
least
going
you
to.
got smart and canceled your pre-order.
One of the pre-orders was for my brother. It was going to be a Christmas present for my brother because I'm expecting
Well,
Twisted
you
Metal
better find him
2.
something good instead.
Yeah, I'm. You know what I'm waiting for?
You know what? You could pee in a bag and be like, "Here, it's better than what I was thinking of getting you."
And it would have been better than this crap
Yeah.
here. Um, I think I'm actually thinking of getting the Super Nintendo Classic now instead because I got to get him something, and that's the best thing on the market right now. But I'm waiting for that.
I
Leads us.
mean, I know Nintendo likes to artificially throttle their supply.
Oh, you know
'Cause
they
they're
do.
dumb.
They lie about it,
Yeah.
but they do.
No, they artificially throttle their supply because Nintendo is used to selling toys, and that's how you sell toys. But they're not selling a toy, they're selling a video game.
Hmm.
And people want to give them money and can't.
Yeah.
Nintendo is losing money with this dumb idiot bullshit they pull.
You know what's funny? Like, I'm a prime example of them. They lost a lot of money on that NES Classic Edition because there was tons of people like out there like me who really wanted to buy it and had the money in hand, ready to throw it in their face and just beg for a copy of one of those things. And it was impossible for me to get one for over a year. And eventually I gave up. I don't even want one anymore. I don't own one, and I will never buy one.
The only people who make money off of that strategy are fucking scalpers. With the NES Classic or Mini or whatever it was called, and the SNES one, it was the same thing. They released it. They artificially restricted the supply. People knew they were going to artificially restrict the supply, and a whole ton of people, or rather, a small amount of people bought a huge amount of the supply when it came out and then resold them for like 10 times as much.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they were getting sold for, you could easily get one for 300, pay $300 plus when it first came out. And it was sold
ridiculous.
It was $79.99 Canadian, and they were selling for over 300.
Unless Nintendo is the scalpers, they're not making any money off that.
Yeah, and then eventually people give up. The hype wears off.
Yeah.
Just like the hype is gone on the NES Classic. It's gone. The Super Nintendo Classic...
Nintendo never got used to the fact that they're not selling toys anymore. Because that was their business strategy way back when Atari nearly killed the entire video game market. In order to keep video games alive, Nintendo took instead of selling the NES in the electronics section, they moved it over to the toys section, and that's how they made money. And so they got into the mindset of we're selling toys, and that's how you sell toys. You artificially restrict the supply to increase demand. But video games aren't the same.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're still doing it to this day.
Yep.
Okay, so
Nintendo makes good games, but their business policies simply refuse to adapt. Anyways.
Okay, let's move on to the next topic.
All right.
There are rumors going around that seem pretty...